There are more armored personnel carriers in active military service than any other armored vehicle on Earth. More than tanks, more than IFVs, more than every other category combined. Every army that moves infantry needs a way to get them to the fight alive. Today, Iron Protocol covers every major armored personnel carrier in active service across all countries. All 22 types, fully ranked. We start with Western tracked armored personnel carriers. The M113. First fielded in 1960, the M113 is still in active service with over 50 armies and remains the most numerically produced APC in history with over 80,000 built. Its aluminum hull provides protection against small arms and shell fragments, but is penetrated by heavy machine gun fire, a limitation that has been repeatedly exposed in every conflict from Vietnam to Ukraine. Dozens of countries continue operating it because no cheaper replacement exists that matches its reliability and parts availability. Then, the M113A3. The most current U.S. Army variant of the classic M113 adds a 275 horsepower turbocharged engine, improved armor package, and updated electrical systems over the original design. The U.S. Army officially replaced it with the Stryker and Bradley in frontline units, but thousands remain in National Guard and Allied inventories. Ukraine received M113A3 variants from multiple NATO donors in 2022 and has used them extensively as battlefield taxis under drone attack conditions. Now, the FV432 Trojan. Britain's Cold War-era tracked APC has been in continuous British Army service since 1963, upgraded through multiple variants to remain relevant. The Mark III Bulldog variant adds improved armor, a new engine, and a thermal imaging system. Britain donated FV432 variants to Ukraine in 2023, where they have been used for casualty evacuation and troop movement in contested areas where heavier vehicles attract drone attention. Up next, the M2 Bradley in APC role. While primarily classified as an IFV, the Bradley is frequently operated in a pure troop-carrying role when its dismount capacity of 6 soldiers is needed without the fire support mission. Its 25mm cannon provides organic suppression capability no dedicated APC on this list matches. Ukraine's Bradley fleet has demonstrated that the distinction between APC and IFV is largely doctrinal. In practice, the Bradley does both. Next on the list, Western wheeled armored personnel carriers. The Stryker M1126. America's 8-wheeled APC carries 9 infantry soldiers at 100 kilometers per hour on roads, fast enough to operate inside an adversary's decision cycle in a way tracked vehicles cannot match. It weighs 19 tons in base configuration and has been continuously upgraded with slat armor, RPG nets, and electronic countermeasures through its Iraq and Afghanistan deployments. The Stryker is the backbone of the U.S. Army's Stryker Brigade combat teams, formations designed to deploy globally faster than heavy armor and fight harder than light infantry. Then, the Boxer. Germany's modular wheeled APC uses a unique drive and mission module concept. The armored hull drives itself, while different mission modules slot in at the rear, converting the same vehicle from APC to ambulance to command post in under an hour. 9 nations have ordered it, including Australia, which selected it over the Bradley for its Land 400 Phase 2 program. Over 1,000 Boxer vehicles are in service or on order across NATO. Now, the Patria AMV. Finland's 8x8 wheeled APC is operated by 11 nations and has been selected in more international competitions than any other wheeled APC of its generation. It carries up to 10 soldiers, accepts weapon stations up to 30 millimeters, and has a hull designed to defeat mine blasts that would destroy lighter wheeled vehicles. Poland operates the largest AMV fleet outside Finland, with over 690 vehicles designated the KTO Rosomak. Up next, the VAB. France's Véhicule de l'Avant Blindé has been in French Army service since 1976 and exported to over 15 countries across Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. Its 4x4 configuration makes it lighter and cheaper than 8x8 competitors, but limits its protection level and payload capacity. France donated VAB variants to Ukraine in 2023, where they serve primarily in the medical evacuation and command roles rather than direct assault. The next one, the Piranha 5. General Dynamics' latest wheeled APC is in service with Denmark, Switzerland, and Romania, with Spain's 8x8 VCR program selecting a derivative. It weighs 30 tons in its heaviest configuration, approaching tracked APC protection levels while retaining wheeled strategic mobility. Switzerland operates Piranha 5 as its primary mechanized infantry carrier, replacing the older Piranha 3 across its ground forces. Continuing with Russian and Soviet armored personnel carriers, the BTR-82A, Russia's most modern wheeled APC, carries a 30mm 2A72 autocannon, more firepower than most IFVs on this list, on an 8-wheeled hull that has been in continuous production since the BTR-60 of the 1960s. It carries 3 crew and 7 dismounts and is fully amphibious without preparation. Russia produces it in significant numbers and has used it as the primary dismount carrier for its motorized rifle units throughout the Ukraine war, with heavy confirmed losses. Now the BTR-80. The preceding generation to the BTR-82A, the BTR-80 remains the most widely exported Soviet-origin APC, with over 5,000 produced and operated by more than 26 countries. Its top-mounted 14.5mm KPV heavy machine gun provides significant suppression capability against light vehicles and personnel. The BTR-80's survival in service for 4 decades reflects the reality that most armies that operate it cannot afford a replacement, regardless of its limitations. Up next, the MTLB. The Soviet multi-purpose tracked carrier is not a purpose-built APC, but has been used as one by necessity across every post-Soviet conflict. Its wide tracks give it exceptional flotation in soft ground, performing in Ukrainian mud where BTR wheeled vehicles bog down. Russia has deployed thousands in Ukraine as improvised APCs, often loaded with infantry in configurations that provide no meaningful ballistic protection overhead against drone strikes. The next one, the BTR-T. Russia's heavily armored tracked APC was developed after Chechnya proved that standard APCs could not survive urban combat. Built on a T-72 tank hull, it provides main battle tank level protection while carrying infantry. But its small dismount capacity of just 2 soldiers limits tactical utility. Russia produced a small number, but abandoned the concept in favor of the T-15 Armata IFV program, which faces its own production challenges. Moving on to Chinese and Asian armored personnel carriers. The ZBL-09. China's 8-wheeled APC is the primary wheeled infantry carrier of the PLA, carrying 10 soldiers at 100 km per hour with a 30mm cannon in its IFV variant and a 12.7mm machine gun in its APC role. China operates over 2,000 in mechanized infantry brigades and has exported it to Thailand, Cameroon, and several African nations as the VN-1. Its combination of speed, capacity, and export price has made it the default Chinese APC solution for the next decade. Then, the Type 63. China's fully amphibious tracked APC, originally fielded in the 1960s, remains in service with the PLA Marine Corps and dozens of export customers for amphibious operations where wheeled vehicles cannot operate. It carries 15 soldiers across rivers and through surf zones with 14.5mm armament for suppression. Despite its age, no cheaper dedicated amphibious tracked carrier exists at comparable price point for export customers. Now, the Arjun APC. India's domestically developed tracked APC, built by DRDO on a modified BMP-2 chassis, carries 9 soldiers with improved protection over the baseline BMP. The Indian Army fields it alongside its BMP-2 fleet in mechanized formations along the Pakistan and China borders. India's domestic APC program reflects its broader push to reduce dependence on Russian-origin platforms that face sanctions risk. Finishing with Middle East and specialist armored personnel carriers. The M-ATV. The mine-resistant, ambush-protected, all-terrain vehicle built by Oshkosh was developed in direct response to IED casualties in Afghanistan and Iraq. Its V-shaped hull deflects blast energy away from the crew rather than absorbing it. It carries 5 soldiers with STANAG Level 3 ballistic protection and Level 4 blast protection, better than any APC designed before the IED threat era. Over 8,700 were produced for the U.S. military and allies, and it remains the benchmark for mine blast protection in wheeled vehicles globally. Then, the Pandur II. Czech Republic's 8-wheeled APC, produced by Steyr Daimler Puch and adopted by Portugal, Czech Republic, and Kuwait, carries 10 soldiers with STANAG Level 3 protection in its base configuration. Its modular design accepts weapon stations up to 30 mm and has been upgraded with Trophy active protection in Kuwaiti service. Kuwait operates over 100 Pandur II vehicles and is the first country to field Trophy on a wheeled APC. The next one, the FNS SAC V15. Turkey's domestically produced tracked APC, built by FNSS Defense Systems, has been exported to Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain as Turkey's primary armored vehicle export success. It carries 11 soldiers, weighs 14 tons, and accepts weapon stations up to 25 mm. Turkey's success with the ACV-15 export program established FNSS as the dominant APC manufacturer in the Islamic world defense market. Subscribe to Iron Protocol for complete modern warfare system breakdowns.